All right. Let's see if I can figure out if my microphone is working. Yeah. Where is it? All right, fighters. It is whatever time it is. 3:20 Mountain Time. And I am not sure if this microphone is working or not, so hopefully you can hear me either way, because I forgot to plug it in before I went live. So anyway, is what it is. Share with me in the chat box who you are. Well, I can see who you are, where you're at, what do you do. I'm always curious about those things. Today, guys, we're going to dig into what it means to know your numbers. And hopefully get you guys some good stuff that'll help you have a amazing 2025. I've got to eat some of my beef jerky. I'm hungry. And all right, we got Willowbrook here. What's up? Gary, what's up, Mr. Sakin? Good to see you, bud. James, we got Bender. Dusty, what's up, man? From Minneapolis. All right. Sorry, I'm eating. Had a meeting with my wife and somebody else a minute ago online and didn't eat, so I'm hungry. We got dogs barking upstairs. Life happening. It's all good. So anyway, wanted to dig in here a bit today. Lisa Oren, what's up? Good to see your name on there. So yesterday, guys, we went live and talked about how to not mess with the money in your business. And today, I want to talk about what it means to know your numbers. Because if you don't know your numbers, you're going to have a hard time making any money and you're going to have a shitty life. So there you go. Anyway, so appreciate you guys. So let me kick this off here real quick. Let me just I gotta move a couple things around. I'm sorry if you're catching the replay here. Just kind of a crazy little bit of a day here. All right. So guys, want to dig in. You've heard me say it a million times. That you got to know your numbers and that your numbers don't lie. You've heard me talk about how if you're ignoring your numbers, like we talked about yesterday, if you're messing with the money, you're ignoring your math. You're not paying attention to some things. You're going to have some issues. All right. It's a straight up death sentence for your business if you truly don't have an understanding of how the math works in your company. And so that's what I want to dig in here today. So think of it this way. If you're not looking at your numbers, if you're not digging into them, 1 second. Love you. Be safe.
Are we going to go?
Yeah, I'll meet you there. Anyway, guys, you guys probably hear the dogs fucking losing their shit. Oh my God. See, we have one of our daughter's dogs here who's a corgi, and she's a goddamn fucking lunatic out the ass. The other dogs are okay. But anyway, so if you're not looking at your numbers, it's like you're driving 70 miles an hour down the highway with your fucking eyes closed. All right. And you might stay on the road for a minute and it might be exhilarating, which, by the way, when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a buddy that lived, we were stationed out in California, and he had this house at the top of Laguna Hills, gorgeous mountains. What's up, Iris? And he actually blindfolded me once, and we drove up the whole mountain. And he told me right, left. And it was like 20 minutes of pure terror. But anyway, that's what you do when you're 20 and you're stupid. So anyway, eventually you're going to crash if you're driving blindfolded, guys. And that's what it means to not know your numbers. All right. So first I'm going to answer two main questions today. One is, what does it mean to know your numbers? Second, I am going to share a few things that you actually need to do, things you can do to know your numbers and use them to grow your business. All right. So first thing, what does it mean to know your numbers? Knowing your numbers means you're in the driver's seat, back to our car analogy here, right? You're in the driver's seat of your business. Okay. It's about understanding exactly how your business operates financially. You know what's happening to every dollar coming in and every dollar going out. Okay. Here's what you also need to know about knowing your numbers. Okay. A couple side notes here. Revenue is not profit. Just because you brought 700 grand in this year and you're like, oh, I'm crushing it. It doesn't mean a thing, because after you pay your overhead, after you pay your cost of goods and your taxes, you might be walking away with pennies. Okay. And you need to know that. I've worked with a guy who was doing a little over $1 million a year in his business. He was accomplishing something that less than 10% of businesses ever do, and that's do $1 million in fucking revenue. Less than 10% of businesses do $1 million. Here, this guy was doing a little north of $1 million, and he was taking home less than $50,000 a year because he wasn't paying attention to the math of the numbers. He thought as long as deposits were coming in, I had money. Big mistake. All right. Next. Okay. I'm going to just define a couple things about knowing your numbers is back to what I said before. It means you know what's happening with the money. A lot of you guys I get a lot of questions. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be an asshole. I don't have to try to be an asshole. All right. I'm saying this because a lot of you guys think knowing your numbers is some fucking secret handshake, little top secret definition. Knowing your numbers means you know what the fuck is going on in your business with the math. That's what knowing your numbers means. You know what it costs you to get a lead. You know what it costs you to get a fucking sale. You know how much money it costs you to get it, you know what your average job size is. You know what your close rate is. You know what your fucking overhead costs you per day. Guys, that's it. It's not some grand fucking secret, society fucking thing. And yet you guys, you piss me off as a whole. You can tell I'm fucking annoyed here because I've got a lot of messages recently about this shit, and now it's all coming to the surface here. All right? Fuck me. You guys think it's some secret society, knowing your numbers. No, you fucking complicate it because, number one, you fuckers don't listen. Seriously, you don't listen. And don't give me this shit, I never did good in school or I'm dyslexic. Fuck you. I rode the short bus and was in special ed. All right? And if I could figure this shit out about knowing my numbers, you can do it too. The real issue is you don't fucking want to know your numbers like we talked about yesterday about not messing with the money. You motherfuckers want to put your head in the sand and just hope shit's going to get better. Or you're going to pawn this shit off to your fucking loser ass bitch fucking bookkeeper or CPA that doesn't know a goddamn thing about doing the books for a fucking construction company. Because, side note, like 60% of bookkeepers fuck up the books for contractors because they don't understand cost of goods the way a contractor does business. All right, I don't want to get even worse off right now. Should have fucking taken a gummy before I did this. Jesus. Guys, I'm passionate about this because you motherfuckers are continually overcomplicating it. And when you overcomplicate it, you don't do it. And when you don't do it, you go, you're again broke, broke again, broke again, broke again. Oh, divorce now, marital problems, fucking health problems. I'm fat as fuck. I gained weight and I'm fucking broke and I lost my dog and my fucking wife slept with my kittens. All right, whatever the fuck it is. All right. All because you guys are fucking avoiding this shit or you're making it more complicated than it needs to be. All right. So I've already lost a lot of people here on the live because you guys are like, fuck this guy. He's an idiot. But anyway, so number one, revenue is not profit. Number two, gross profit versus net profit. Gross profit is what is left. I'm defining a few terms here for you. Gross profit is what is left after you take what it cost you, direct cost to build the fucking shed from what you sold the shed for. If you build a shed for fucking $5,000 and labor and material cost you $5,000 or $3,000, okay, I said 5, right? 5, and it cost me 3. I got 2,000 left. That's your gross profit. That is not your net profit. That $2,000 is what you have left to pay your overhead and hopefully have a fucking net profit. A net profit is what's left after every fucking thing in the business is fucking paid. And this is above and beyond your take-home pay. Net profit is not your fucking take-home pay. Yes, you could formally take it if you want, but then it's not really net profit because the business made no money. And one of the reasons that you guys continue to struggle, and mistake I had made way back in the day, many times through the years, because I didn't understand this, is the business never had any money and had zero value. The business had zero value because I was taking all the fucking money, because I didn't budget. I didn't price my work accordingly. Okay? And when you don't understand what it truly costs you, to be in business, okay, then you're going to make these mistakes and you're going to have a really hard time making ends meet. And guys, the last thing you want is to run a business for fucking 15, 20, 30 years, 40 years, and it has zero value because you have no net profit. Okay? Because again, you will never sell your business. Nobody will take it on. Nobody fucking wants your business. If you're doing everything and you're taking all the money and there's no money left, there's no enterprise value of the business, what the fuck does it matter? You just have a job. Okay? Third thing, job costing. You got to understand this. Every job has costs. And if you're not tracking every cost of the job, the labor, material, the time, the permits, all these things, how do you know if a job is making you money or not? Okay, we recently did about an $8,000 job for my company, Simplify Painting in Colorado Springs. Okay, after labor and materials and everything were paid to produce the job, our gross profit was around $4,500. So give or take 55, 56% gross profit. Okay, that's a solid number because I aim to sell and produce it at least a 50% gross profit. Okay, so another concept about knowing your numbers here, guys, is overhead is like a fucking teenage boy. Okay, it eats every day and it snacks in between fucking meals and it's expensive. All right, and so if you're one of those contractors right now that says I don't have any overhead, okay, I understand that some of you might have very low overhead. I get that. All right, but you still have overhead. All right. It's your shop rent. It's your truck payments. It's the truck insurance. It's the cell phone bill for the business. It's your internet hosting. It's any marketing you spend. It's office salaries. It's your virtual assistant. It's your paycheck. Again, as a business owner, part of the overhead should be a salary for you being paid to run the business. That is not net profit. All right. So, guys, ladies, gentlemen, you have overhead. And if you don't know your overhead, you're guessing. All right. So for example, let's just pretend that you have whatever your fucking company is. I don't care what it is. And I'm just pulling out a calculator here. And you go, okay, let's say my overhead is $15,000 a month. And that includes $8,000 a month to pay you, $8,500 a month to pay you. So you can make at least $100,000 a year. Okay. Means there's another 7,000 or so, 6,500, whatever the hell the number is, above and beyond that for marketing and truck payments and all the other shit. Okay. Now don't start going, oh, my overhead's not that. I'm just using the math as an example. All right. So you take $15,000. You take the average month, which has about 22 working days in it. You divide that. Do you realize you need to, before you set foot on the job with your people, with anyone working in the field, you have to charge at least $681 a day for that job. Okay? Think about that. You need to charge, call it $700 a day before you even add on net profit, before you add on what your field labor costs, before you put in there what the material is. So we'll just round it up to 7. And let's say you want to make another $5,000, okay, a month of net profit after you're paid. That's another 200, call it $230 a day. So you got the 700 plus the 230, you're up to 930 a day. 930 a day before you even set foot on the job site and do any work. So for instance, if you have a job, and I'm going to do the math here. I'm just going to do it with you. If you have a calculator, do it. Say you got Billy who makes $30 and you got Joey who makes $22. That's $52 when you combine them per hour. You divide that by, you have an average wage of $26 an hour times 1.4 labor burden, workers' comp, all that other bullshit, taxes, fucking Uncle Sam is raping us for, and this and that. You're at $36 an hour. Okay, I'm rounding that to 40 for our math. So my average is 40 an hour per guy. Okay, because the guy at 30 an hour is really costing you, the hell's he costing you? 30 times 1.4. He's really costing you 42. All right, so back to 40 an hour. And if it's 2 guys, 8 hours a day, that's 16 hours a day times a 3-day job. Okay, that's 48 man hours times 40. That's what it's costing you. 1920 is what it's costing you in labor. Okay, let's just say you got another fucking $1,000 on material for the job. The job is costing you $2,900 to do it. That's before you've added any overhead in. Okay, now one of the things you could do is we had this $930, right? You can go 930 times 3 days. That's $2,790 plus whatever the number was that I just had a minute ago. What was it? $2,920. $2,920. You could charge $5,710. If I charge $5,710, the $2,900 goes to the labor. Okay, the $1,000 goes to the material, and then that $930 times 3 days, that $2,790 just stays in my pocket, pays for overhead. So I'm basically, I could price my labor and material at a fucking wash and just add overhead and net profit if you wanted to. I know I'm confusing some of you, but my point here is if you don't understand what it costs you, back to the $930. Okay, if you got, 15,000 in overhead divided by, you have a month like December where you have less working days because you have the holiday, you lose a week. It might be 17 days or some shit that you're working. It's $882 a day to keep the fucking lights on without you even setting foot on a job site, guys. Knowing this in your business will help you. Okay. So let me do this quick. Let me just say hi to a couple people that jumped on here. I know a few people have jumped on. We got Dusty. I said hi. Lisa, I said hi. Connor, what's up, homie? Paint Logic from Melbourne, Australia. Lawn and Garden. Jimmy's here. Bender. Christopher Mann. Glad to see you guys here. All right. So I've said hi to a few of you guys that just typed some shit in the chat. I got to take another bite of my beef jerky. All right. You out of here? Yeah. Where you going? The gym, going to get swole.
Are you live right now?
I'm live right now.
That's crazy.
Your fucking awesome dad is live.
All right, pal.
I love you. Be safe. Head on a swivel.
You too, good.
All right. So, guys, knowing your numbers is nothing more than knowing the hell's going on and not pawning it off on your bookkeeper or your CPA. You guys with me? Give me a fist bump in the chat. Okay. So, I don't see any fist bumps, so maybe you're confused. All right, next. I want to talk about question number 2. What do I need to do? I said I'd answer a couple questions for you here today. What do you need to do to actually know your numbers? Okay. Number 1, you got to get your books in order. Because, guys, remember, we're going to talk about the how right now. And this is not rocket science, but it takes some discipline, which, by the way, The number one factor that I've seen year in and year out in the people I've trained, taught, coached, mentored, okay, and in myself, hands down, the number one reason any one of us is not more successful than we want to be is we lack discipline in a certain area, maybe multiple areas. All right. So I would venture to say that if your bank account is not where you want it as a contractor right now, on the home front or in the business, if your net worth is not growing, then it is simply a financial discipline issue. Okay. So the things I'm going to share here are not hard. They take discipline. Number one, you got to get your books in order. Okay. Hire a bookkeeper who specializes in contractors. That's number one. Please do not do this yourself. Don't do it yourself. I shared yesterday on the live talking about messing with money. I've met one guy who retired a multimillionaire that did his books his whole career. Okay. I've known one. I've never done my own books. I don't know how to do my own books. I hire a pro to do it. And some of you that are going, oh, I can't afford it. That's the fucking problem. Because you're probably jacking off trying to figure out QuickBooks for 4 hours at a night. Okay. When you could be getting some sleep, or so you could be writing some blogs or doing something to build your business. But instead, you're like the homeowner who's trying to remodel their own damn bathroom. It makes no sense. So quit being a cheap ass. It is not expensive. Okay. It is not expensive in the big scheme of things, especially when your books are in order. You will be paying quarterly taxes and you will be up to date. You won't get hit with big bills from the tax man and all that crap. Okay. You know, for instance, at Simplify Painting, you know, we use Gina Malvastuda. She's been my bookkeeper for over 20 years in my companies. Okay. And we communicate on a pretty regular basis, a couple times a month. We're actually going to step that up as the company grows. We're going to have a weekly meeting for 15 to 20 minutes on a screen share and go over some stuff. And I'm going to say, this is coming in, this is going out. She's going to ask questions. We're just going to get on the same page. And then I get a PDF emailed to me of the snapshot of my profit and loss and my balance sheet and all those different things in real time. Okay. So guys, if you, in order to know your numbers, you need to get your books in order. That's number one. Number two, track every dollar. Okay. Again, there's so many tools out there, CRMs, all this, even a freaking spreadsheet, guys. I don't care. Okay. Just start tracking. Know where the money is going. You can do this by job costing. Okay. I know that you can grab, here, I'll drop a link here for you guys. I think it is job cost is the domain. If you want our job costing sheet, okay, at the very least on every one of the projects you do, take some time and job cost the project. Track the payments received, track the money out, the material, the labor hours, all that other garbage, okay? And then you'll know what jobs are making money and which jobs are not. On the overhead side of the business, that's separate from the producing job side. On the overhead side of the business, okay, take some time each month with your bookkeeper and sit down and just go over the profit and loss sheet. Overhead is anything you pay that has nothing to do with an individual job. Okay. So the internet that I pay for to run this live right now isn't for a specific project. It is part of the overhead because I'm paying for the internet every month. If you have a virtual assistant, you have an office manager, you have a marketing campaign, whether you have any jobs and leads coming in from the marketing campaign today, you're still paying for it. Maybe $5,000, $500,000 a month, $10,000 a month, whatever your marketing costs are, that is overhead. Okay. Please don't complicate this. This is, a lot of you guys are like, I'm like, oh, what's your overhead? And you're like, oh, well, when you figure in material and labor, no, shut the fuck up. That's what I said earlier. You guys don't fucking pay attention. You don't listen. All right. Track every dollar of overhead, track every dollar of your freaking job costing for your projects, and then you'll see where things are at. And then you'll either have money left or you won't have money left for net profit. And then you'll be able to go, Why don't we have any money left? Well, on 65% of the projects we do, we go over budget on the man hours. Maybe that's a fucking clue. Okay? Because success leaves clues. So does lack of success. All right? Part of tracking the money is understanding your costs. On an overhead front, guys, there's what's called fixed costs and variable costs. So break your overhead down. What is fixed cost? Fixed is like your rent or your mortgage, right? You know, my mortgage payment for my house, whatever the hell it is what it is. It doesn't change. Okay? My truck insurance, unless I have a freaking bad accident or moving violations, it's pretty much the same for this at least 6 months at a time, right? Those are fixed costs. Variable costs of your overhead could be things like marketing spend, ad spend. You know, you might budget 10 grand a month for marketing, but you only spent 8,500 this month. That's a variable cost. Or maybe you budgeted 10 grand and you spent 12 grand based on the month. Okay. Maybe you get my point here. There's fixed costs and variable costs. So things on variable in overhead, they change. Okay. Next thing that you can do, number 4 here, to know your numbers. Something you can tactically do is you need to calculate your break-even cost. Okay. So let's do a pop quiz here. I'm going to do a pop quiz for you guys to type in the chat box if you're able to, unless you're driving or something. That if my overhead is $12,000 a month and I am producing my work at a 40% gross profit. Okay. Type in what the break-even point is for revenue that needs to be collected on $12,000 a month at a 40% gross profit margin. And I'm doing my math here on my calculator. If you don't know, I'll give you a hint. It's fixed cost. It's your overhead divided by your produced gross profit margin. That will give you your break-even revenue you need to break even and not make any profit, but at least break even. Let you guys figure out your math. There you go. First 2 people, Gabriel and Lisa, good job. 30 grand. Okay. So if you want to know what your break-even point is, because somebody asked that question earlier, how do you figure I'm still confused on break-even or something? I saw it earlier. Okay. Appreciate the question. Trying to find it again. I don't know where it went. But anyway. So guys, breaking even means this. If my overhead is 12 grand and I'm producing my work at 40%, 40, 12 grand divided by 0.4, like that, equals 30 grand. Now let's reverse engineer it. That means that out of the 30 grand that I collect, I sell the work and collect, it's costing me, if my profit is 40%, it means it's costing me 60% of the $30,000 to produce the work in the field. So if I go 30,000 times 60%, that's 18 grand. So the 30 grand comes in, we spend the 18 to do the work. We have, if everything's on budget and we finish it at exactly a 40% gross profit on all those work or one job or whatever it is, that means you have $12,000 left. That is equal to your overhead amount. So you have enough to pay your overhead and no more. And no more. There's no net profit. That's your break-even point. Okay. Now, what I personally do is I take that $12,000 and I go, I want another 10 grand of profit a month. So now I'm at 22 grand. And let's just operate. I know we talk 50% in my world. Okay. But let's just do the same 40%. Now I take the 22 grand divided by 40% gross profit. I need to bring in 55 a month. And if I bring in 55 a month and it cost me 60% to produce it, which is 33 grand. Okay. Well, 33 off of 55 is 22. I produce it for 33. I have the 22 left, which pays the 12 of overhead, and I have 10 grand of net profit left. I bake my net profit into my break even. That's how Tom does it. Okay. Anyway. All right. Next thing. Okay. So you got to know your break even point. You got to price your work right, guys. Number 5 here. Okay. You have to figure up every cost and then correctly mark it up so that you have the profit that you need to have. Okay. We do at least a multiplier of 2 when I price a job. Okay. Here in my companies, let me find a piece of paper. So if I'm labor, 5K, material, 3K. Okay. If I'm bidding a job and I tally up all my man hours based upon my production rates, okay, come up with 5 grand for labor, 3 in material, all that shit. I know this job's going to cost me $8,000. Okay. Times 2. Times 2. I charge 16 grand or more, and that's it. Okay. There you go. So you can choose to do a multiplier of less than 2 if you want, which is basically you're doubling your costs. So you're charging 100% of your costs. Again, you could do that or not. It's your call. Okay. So anyway, price your jobs based on what the math is telling you, not what your emotions are telling you. That's the other thing I want to talk about, pricing your jobs correctly, guys. Okay. And knowing your numbers isn't just pricing your jobs correctly, it's estimating them correctly based on the time it takes to do things. Okay. So if you think it's going to take, 4 hours to remove the carpet in a couple rooms, I'm just making something up here. Okay. And you put it on the bid. Okay. It's going to be not on the bid for the customer, but you're figuring up your costs. Okay. 4 hours for this task, an hour for this. Track the tasks. What good is it to assign times to thing to come up with a price if you're not going to track the task on the back end of it? Okay. You got to track that shit. It's part of the job costing that we're talking about. So it's not just what you're charging the customer, it's the time you're assigning. Is the time you're assigning accurate? I've made this mistake in my career many times, and I've seen it happen thousands of times with contractors I've coached through the years, is you're pricing your work just fine. You're just jacking up the time that you're given for it. You're either giving too much or too little. Every single job that you do, you should be job costing and comparing what did I estimate the time at and the materials and what did it really take me? And then you adjust your estimating as you go. Does this make sense? Hopefully it does. All right. Next thing you can do on a regular basis to know your numbers is set a weekly money meeting to review the income, expenses, and all the job profitability and all this other shit that we're talking about. Okay. So example that I've shared 1,000 times here, one of my old companies, my old business partner and our bookkeeper, Gina, and our office manager would sit down at 1 o'clock every Thursday afternoon from 1 to 3, and they would look at accounts receivable, accounts payable. Okay. Who owes us money? Who do we owe money? They would look at the calendar, what projects are coming. We would forecast cash flow. Okay. They would pay the bills. They would do all these different things every Thursday, like clockwork. It was like a meeting with a $10 million client. That's how you have to treat this stuff, guys. You got to review and adjust on a regular basis. Okay. So that you are almost in real time evaluating the math in your business. Knowing your numbers is also, here's something else you can do, is how many leads came in this week? What did you spend for those leads? So what is your cost per lead? And then out of those leads, okay, how many turned into work? And what is your cost to acquire a customer? Your CAC, your CAC. So what that means is if you come up and you're like, okay, it costs me $500 to get a new client based on what I'm spending time and money on marketing, and I want to grow my business by, $750,000 next year. Well, if I divide 750, okay, and my average job is say 20 grand divided by 20,000. I need 37, call it 38, call it 40 jobs. Well, 40 times 500, I'm going to spend at least another $20,000 generating the leads for those new jobs. See how this makes sense, guys? This is what it means to manage your business by the numbers. The numbers are telling you a story, and it's important that you're paying attention and you're not avoiding. All right. So Samuel's here. Steve is here. EcoCare. What's up? Okay. I think I said hi to most of you guys already that are here live, that are at least in the chat. Appreciate you guys. All right. So let me go back. I got a few minutes here. I'm going to go meet the wife. She's heading to the barn right now to teach one of her clients some giddy up stuff. And I'm going to wrap this up in a bit. Before I do, I'm going to give you guys some Q&A here. Just a few minutes. If there's a question that you want me to answer, just drop it in the chat. Bender asked earlier, how do you write a contract to make 50% gross profit? It has nothing to do with the way you write the contract. The contract is what the scope of work is, what the terms and the conditions are, and what it costs. The 50% gross profit, Bender, is you figuring out your direct job costs, multiply times 2, and fucking write that number on the contract. Done. Okay. Bender again, do you write contracts with cost breakdown? And if so, what does the client say when they see you mark everything up 100%? I do not. And if you are breaking down all your bids like this, I think you're making a mistake. In the event that somebody says to me, because they're like, oh, you're a lot more money than other people. What's your profit margin? I literally say, I don't tell them that my markup is 100%. I don't tell them it's a 50% gross profit. Some people I know do. And I shouldn't say I never do. In the past, I'm like, well, we bid everything for a 50% gross profit. And if you've built a good relationship and you're using empathy in the sales process, you're connecting emotionally, 9 out of 10 times they've asked me that question, they're like, oh, okay. They were just curious. I usually answer it when they go, oh, you're a lot more money. What's your profit margin on this? I said, well, if everything goes right, which they rarely do, we'll walk somewhere between a 15 and a 20% net profit margin on your project, which is a net profit margin. Okay. I find that's a little easier for people to swallow than me telling them I marked everything up 100%. Don't break your shit down. Break down the area. Just go, like for instance, if I'm painting, if I'm going to do a paint bid, I'm not doing like the baseboard is $150 and the doors are $100 each and the walls are this. I'm going dining room, like all the scope of the dining room. All right. If I'm breaking anything down, I'm doing it by room, which I don't even do that. I just go, here's the scope for this room. 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 And here's this lump sum price. I will tell you that I like to fuck with people. You guys are probably not surprised at that when they ask me to itemize everything, I double the price of everything on the bid. And then I send the bid and the whole price goes up double. And then they call me and they're like, you itemized everything and it's double the price. I said, yeah, because I don't know which options you're choosing. So I have to hit our daily minimums. I bid your whole job to be an economy of scale. If you're calling me out just to paint 2 doors, it's going to be at least $800 because that's what our painter for a day is in labor. $800 a guy for the day. Okay. If you want me to just come out and paint the walls in this bedroom or whatever it is, or the ceiling in this room, and that's the only thing I'm painting, and it's a 12 by 12 room, it's a $600 ceiling or whatever the number is. I more than double it when they want me to itemize it. And I explain to them, I don't know what you're doing. So usually you can head that off by just going, you've asked me to itemize this. That's an interesting request. I'm curious, what are you hoping to learn from this? and then I'll have a conversation, and sometimes they're just curious. So don't make it up in your mind like they're just trying to beat you up on price. Literally, guys, sometimes they're just curious. Okay. But I like to fuck with people on it. How do I divide break-even amount each job? You don't. You're complicating it. You're complicating it, EcoCare. So let's say your break-even revenue is $50,000. Okay. You got to bring in 50 grand a month. I'm just making up a number. And let's say you sell one job at 17.5. Okay. And you sell another job at 15,000 and another job at 10,000. What's that? 4 jobs now? Something like that. Like it's about hitting the revenue number. You're not assigning a break even to every job. You are complicating this. Stop complicating it. Do what I've told you all to do 100,000 times on this channel, you guys. Eco, you do this. You figure out what it's going to cost you on this job to produce it. You double it and you sell it, and then you go hunt and kill the next job and hunt and kill the next job. And that's why I say you got to be fanatical about building your brand, generating leads, and selling every day, because when you're compounding the sales each day, you're going to hit your break-even amount like that. It's not a big deal. Okay? Stop trying to do it on one job. You're complicating it. Gabriel, hey, Tom, long time. First time. Cool, man. Appreciate you. Currently trying to niche down to kitchens and baths, but average sales need to be $2K a day at 50% GP. Just can't seem to sell these numbers. Okay, well then, are you getting sales training? Have you grabbed our Shinfu sales training? Are you marketing? Are you getting enough leads? Okay, there's so much context I don't know here, Gabriel, but the point is $2 grand a day isn't shit, man. I mean, that's nothing. It's 60 grand a month, or what, 50 grand a month? It's one bathroom. You sell one bathroom a month. And if you're not getting it, then it's one of two problems. Usually one of two problems are a combination. Just going, I'm having a hard time selling these numbers. Number one, you're attracting the wrong people. Okay. So you got wrong client, wrong prospect, right? Like you are attracting people that have zero business in the world spending anything. Like they're the people that want to do shit cheap, right? So that's option one. Number two, you don't know how to sell. So the first is you don't know how to market to attract the right people. Number two, you don't know how to sell and bring the deal home, okay, with that right person. And then number three, this might sting a bit, and I'm not looking at you. I don't know what you look like, so I'm not making any judgments here. I'm just telling you this is what I've seen. Another option is if you are not getting these numbers, the chance it might be because you're coming off as a shithead. Not just a shithead, but a king of the shitheads. Meaning your brand looks cheap. You have bedhead. You and your team don't have uniforms. You drive a piece of shit vehicle. Okay? And the problem with that is you pull up in a piece of shit vehicle, but you're telling somebody a premium price, there's a disconnect. So just your overall, the way you're presenting yourself, your communication, the typos in your fucking emails, do you return phone calls? All these things is what I'm talking about being a shithead. Okay? So when somebody says to me, I'm having a hard time selling at these rates, it's usually one or a combination of these things. So, excuse me. What's up, Tolman? There you go. Yep. You know something about selling at the right rates. There you go. Other questions, guys? Gals, people. All right. For those of you, I know a few of you guys are like, I need help on this number stuff. You haven't grabbed our Know Your Numbers, or I'm sorry, it's called Nail Your Number. training that Anthony Abbott and I did last year. It's amazing program. And you'll get a lot out of it. All right. East Coast Skater. Would you do a $148,000 job with no deposit? It's my first big job, but I don't want to hound them. East Coast Skater 30. I wouldn't do a $148 job without a fucking deposit. Seriously. If you don't, I'll tell you right now, and I'm not trying to talk you out of doing this job unless you underbid it. If you're not at least a 50% gross profit, okay, meaning 148 divided by 2, it's costing you no more than $74,000 to produce the job, labor, and material. If you don't have payment terms outlined, okay, if you don't have a professional contract drawn up by a construction attorney to protect your ass, then the last thing you should do is take this job on, because what's going to happen, you said it's your first big job. This job will have the potential to distract you for several months or weeks. I don't know how long it's supposed to take you. Okay. And it will distract you. It will keep you from working on other high profit projects. And if the payment terms aren't great, you'll end up working from start to finish on this damn thing without the right money. Right around 50K profit with first time hiring subs too. Yeah. The last thing I would do, and that's only a 30% profit, man. I mean, 50 divided by 148, that's a 33, 34% profit. If everything goes right, I think it's a mistake, especially in your first job, first big job, and your first time using subs, because there's going to be a learning curve here, man, or woman, whatever you are. Oh, so you're at 50. All right, fine. When you're at 50, you got some wiggle room for shit to go wrong. Guys, 50% gross profit is not just to pad your pockets. It's to make sure show up consistently and hire the right people and deliver a great experience and all those different things. I hope this makes sense, you guys, okay? And again, it's not hounding them, okay? It's not hounding them at all. You just pick the phone up and you go, hey, I'm excited to get this project going. Here's our payment terms. I've just sent over. Like, you should sit down. If you got the job, that means I'm assuming you've already signed a contract. And in the contract, it laid out the milestones and, those milestones that you're going to get progress payments on and all those different types of things. And if not, please call a timeout because you're about to lose your ass. And by the way, someone told me the same thing over 20 years ago and I didn't listen and I lost my ass. Okay? Because I knew better. All right, EcoCare, overhead is $27 a month. I'm aiming for 10% net profit, 10K salary a month, break even would be 67. EcoCare, if your overhead is 27 a month, then I'm assuming the 10 grand salary is in there because your fucking salary is your overhead. Okay, and 10%, you said I'm aiming for 10K net profit. Okay. So I don't know what GP you're doing. Okay. Tom, you should join Minact. I have no idea what that is. Dogs are fucking stupid. So but you can get advice personally from me when you're in my Battleground program because I lead a weekly call and I unmute you and I coach you one-on-one on the group call. So there you go. Thanks for the suggestion. All right, Mike Gus, 15. I took your advice, essentially did the math, figure out what it costs to run my business per month, divided to figure out what the number is per hour. I added, but do you think I should include a line in my calculator separate for retirement? What other factors could be good that I'm not thinking about? Mike Gus, 15. Dude, this is the beautiful thing. Okay? This is the beautiful thing about owning your own business is you get to structure your pricing any way you want. I mean, if you go, I want to bank $1,000 a month for my retirement, then you just add that to your overhead. Make sure you pull it out and put it in your retirement. Okay. So again, you get to do what you want, but this is also why you need to have a good bookkeeper, a good CPA who thinks strategically with you. Okay. So that you can plan for these things. But it all starts, none of this shit matters. Okay. None of this shit matters if you don't charge enough and produce on budget and have enough leads. Okay. So let's just get you to the point here. Whoever asked that, Mike something, right? Make a shit ton of net profit and then have the problem sitting down with your financial planner and your CPA of where you're going to put it so you're not getting hosed on the taxes. Okay. So anyway, what do you use for writing contracts? I use an attorney. Who do you use for marketing? Contractor Growth Network built my website. I do all my own marketing. Other than that, I write all my own blogs. I do have a virtual assistant who will be picking that up. We will be writing another 100 blogs in the next 5 months. First 5 months of the year, we will write 100 blog posts. And then I have Agile and Company runs my LSA. Here you go. Other questions. What's the best software or best service to write a contract? An attorney, please. Don't do it yourself. Please don't do your contracts yourself, you guys. I know you said you have some painting company, you're starting part-time. Who's doing your Google marketing? Yeah, I just said who's doing my LSA. It's Agile and Company. All right, other questions? Last call. Yeah, if you want to get to 600, I'm assuming you said I have a gutter company. We made 300. You made net profit of 300, or that was your top line revenue? Anyway, double down on what's working. You grossed 300. Yeah, I mean, double down on what's working. Network, build relationships, call your past customers. Okay, like guys, all these things combined. Don't just be a one-trick pony when it comes to your lead flow. Okay. Best niche in contracting, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. Seriously. It depends on you and your skills and your goals and how you want to spend your time and what your talents are and all. And I don't know what it is. How can I join Battleground? You need to be doing at least $500,000 a year. If you're not $500,000 a year, join our contractor business school that opens up in about a week. More info will be on that. Get on our email list if you are not yet on the email list. If you want to join Battleground and you're doing $500,000 a year or more and you have at least $8,000 to invest, because it's $7,970 to get in if you pay in full for the year, or it's $800 a month, $797 a month. So email help@thecontractorfight.com and let them know what you want to do. Okay, I send my client work orders with line item prices on about our work order. It works for me though. I always sell. Cool. Okay, good. I also give the clients the option of work order, remove any lineup. Yep, cool. Since implementing new pricing, I learned from you, I went from roughly 85 yes rate to 65, which I think is a good sign. What would be an appropriate success rate? Mike, it depends. You know, I don't know what you do. Like as a painting contractor, I'm ecstatic with a 25% close rate because I know I'm usually higher price than everybody else. I'm pricing my work at a 55, 60% gross profit. I don't need every lead or every job. Okay. So I'm good with that. I know others sell at 50% or whatever. If you're too high, it means you're Well, it also depends on your lead source too, right? That's why you got to track your closing rate by every lead source, like Google Organic, Google Ads, Facebook ads, billboards, truck signs, past customers, referrals. Every lead source, you guys, should have a different closing rate because it has a different closing rate. So my past clients and referrals for my past clients, I'm going to sell 80 to 90% of those because they're like the hottest lead you can get. If you go get an Angie lead or a Google, somebody just calls you off of Google ads or something, they don't know you necessarily, right? So your closing rate's probably going to be a lot lower. So it just depends. Brother Grimes, all good, man. Thanks for being here, buddy. I ain't yelling at anybody. Agile and Company out of St. Louis, Greg. Agile, A-G-I-L-E and Company. This infers obviously that I'm charging more than I was before. I'm a single person residential carpenter specializing in trim and small remodels. Yeah, then it sounds like 65% is probably good for you because you probably get a lot of word of mouth work. But again, as you start spending money on marketing and you want to scale the business and add people, if that's your goal, Mike, your close rate's going to go down because you're not going to be able to rely. You cannot, I'm telling you right now, guys, you will not scale your business to $1, $2, $3 million, $5 million on word of mouth alone. It will not happen. Now, the longer you're in business and people see you and shit, that's different. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, when you're a one-man show and you're closing 50, 60, 80% of the jobs you get, you're only doing like, I'm not picking on you, Mike, but I'm just saying when I was a one-man show painting company, I was only doing like 50, maybe 3 to 5 jobs a month. That's nothing. Okay. And in the beginning, because I was a one-man guy, one-man company. You can only produce so much work as a one-person company. All right. So for instance, at the peak of my painting business in Chicago, it's how many field employees I had. Okay. That's how many man hours I had to sell a week. That's how many we had to produce a week. I'm not getting that many man hours booked and sold on word of mouth alone. You have to invest in marketing, truck wraps, yard signs, direct mail, Google ads, Facebook ads, whatever. And then you track it. The whole point of this whole live today was knowing your numbers. You track what you're doing, and then you let the data tell you what to keep doing or to dump. Easy peasy. All right, a couple minutes here. How do you hire the best people to scale this business to over 500K? I don't know anything about your business. You recruit them. That's how you hire the best people, and you pay the fuck out of them. I use HubSpot for my CRM. Almost all my business is word of mouth. I want to hire people, but finding the time after starting a one-man show makes it hard. Yeah, this is why, Mike, not just you, I'm not picking on you, but I'm saying you as a one-man show will never scale your business because most don't change their mindset. You're hiding behind your tools. You as a group is what I'm saying, not Mike specifically, because I don't know Mike's personal situation. I've just done this long enough to know that everyone that says I want to scale but won't fucking embrace the fact that they're a salesperson and a marketer before they're a craftsman, you will never scale. If you want to grow your business to more than 500 grand a year, which by the way, less than 5% of contractors do. Okay. Google, Mike, Greg, you were like on the Google wagon here. Google is key unless it's not. I mean, I have a friend here in town who spent over $100,000 a year on Google for 2 years in a row. Nobody outspent him here, and he didn't fucking do dick for his business. Okay. It depends on competition in certain markets. Okay. So just to have a blanket statement that says Google is key. If that were the case, then every one of you that ever spends a dime on Google would be raking in money right now. Okay. Simplify Painting here in Colorado Springs. First 3 months or 4 months of Google ads here. Goose egg. Goose egg. I don't get shit from Google. Part of it is I'm an incredibly new company. Okay. So Facebook, I dropped 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12 grand on Facebook marketing in the first 3 months of this business here, 3.5 months. I sold one $3,000 job. So my cost to acquire a customer was $12,000. And again, damn near every contractor I know here in Colorado Springs, and guys, I'm not talking like shitheads that don't know what they're doing. I'm talking people that hire some of the best marketing companies in the country, that including myself. We don't do shit with Facebook and Google here. Okay. So, yeah. So my goal for Simplify is to get in the first year to get at least 100 reviews. And in our first 3 months, we got, I think, 20, 21, 19 of them, something like that. And we're doing great. So a lot of it, Greg, has to do with the market that you're in. Okay. Jim, how's your current painting business doing? We're not doing shit right now. I basically took the month off because I had a lot of, since right before Thanksgiving, I guess. We finished our last job 2 weeks ago. Our last job of the year was 2 weeks ago, and we're not doing shit till February because I have a lot of things going on. This is the benefit of me running this part-time. And I have sub crews who are great. They're awesome. But we are continuing to build our brand, build relationships, market the business, this and that. But we're not going to do, we'll be at $1 million run rate by June. That's where we'll be. We've done 200 grand in our first 4 months, whatever it is, 4 months of working at a 55% GP. Thanks for asking. All right. Anyway, I was talking earlier about scaling, guys. If you want to grow a business beyond you got to let go of being a craftsman first. And that's not meant to say the craftsmanship is not important. What I'm saying is you need to become a craftsman of marketing and sales and numbers and leadership and not just the fucking tools or the craft you do. After you've built your business to where it is, do you ever see yourself doing any sort of the physical labor anymore? No, I don't do any of the physical labor now. I haven't worked in the field. Let me back. I worked in the field in July. I worked a whole day in the field with a new sub. It was a guy that I met who's now my right-hand guy, and I wanted to work side by side with him for a day on a project just to see how he did things and see if I could trust him. And he's great. But every now and then I get an itch to pick up a brush or something. But I never want to work in the field ever. If I'm working in the field, I'm losing money. Because I only work 16 hours a week, you guys, on Simplify Painting, because it's a side hustle. And I have other goals for it beyond, I don't need to eat from it. Okay. Well, Greg, I have capacity right now to do over $2 million a year with the subs that I have. I'm a brand new business without a brand because it takes a while to build a brand. So we're paying for leads. And that's the phase that we're in right now while we're building businesses and all that other shit. And as we grow, like I said, we'll be at $1 million run rate by June, which is 83 grand a month. We'll be doing consistently by the month of June this year in 2025. And we'll build it to, close to 2 million by the start of our second year. All right, guys, I got to get rolling. I'm going to go hang with my wife. We're going to have a little date. I appreciate you being part of the fight. If you've not yet grabbed Nail Your Numbers, go ahead and grab it. I just dropped the link in the chat. Guys, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. We got some cool things coming your way in 2025. Our contractor business school is starting. It is the highest impact, lowest cost training there is on planet Earth for a contractor who's doing under 500 grand that wants to get to 500 grand a year. Okay. And So, and when we drop the details on it, I think you guys are going to shit your pants of what it costs in a good way. Okay. It's usually never good to shit your pants, but this will be a good shit in your pants. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Be safe. If I don't talk to you guys before the new year, Happy New Year. And guys, no matter how this year went for you in 2024, okay, put it behind you. If you kicked ass, put it behind you and now go do it again. And if you got your ass kicked, put it behind you and go forward and learn some lessons and do things differently in 2025. You got what it takes. Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.